Okay, 8/8/2022 week in review. As always, we're going to start with addressing questions from last week's comments, from the comment section in last week's week in review. And as you see, I don't answer every question from the comments, but I go through and select a bunch, and then I print them out, and then I go through them, the ones that I decide to answer one by one. So the first question I'm going to address, JS, 4 days ago. Question: did you attend, watch, or support Boz in any way the CrossFit Games? Thoughts or any hopes to see you back involved, or maybe a proper swan song? So did I attend? No, didn't go. Did I watch? No, I actually didn't. I never turned on the stream. I never looked at anything on social media in terms of footage. I did not watch any of the games. Did I support Boz? Did I support Boz in any way? When I first came back earlier, a couple months ago, I sent him a text saying, hey, if you need anything, any support, let me know. I'm there, and I'll do whatever you ask. I'll provide any backup or support you need. For whatever reason, the team didn't take me up on it, so didn't have to, or didn't have the opportunity to provide any support. That answers the first half. Thoughts or any hopes to see you back involved, or maybe a proper swan song? I wish there would have been a proper swan song. I was fired very quickly, and so I've always envisioned there'd be a nice transition out. That obviously didn't happen. Do I think it can happen? I don't know, but I would prefer if there was another way for me to exit out from all of this, all of the game stuff. On that note, in terms of the games this weekend, I didn't watch anything. I didn't tune in for my own reasons that I've talked about in other places. I talked about on Sivan's podcast, but I did get a lot of messages from the games team and some athletes, and I really appreciated that. A lot of people I've worked with before dropped a line saying, "Hey, we miss you," or whatnot, and so that was cool. It was cool hearing from people at the event, and but yeah, the didn't watch it. Okay, next question, George Vengel. How are CrossFit and tactical fitness the same, and what are the differences between the two? So CrossFit, clearly defined. I know what you're talking about when you ask that question. Tactical fitness, when you ask that question, I mean, I don't know what you mean. Like, is there a tactical fitness brand? I don't know if there is, honestly. Or are you just talking about fitness that tactical people in general do? Having come from that world, I know, like, you can't find two people who do the same thing. That's not true. There's a few different things that people do, but meaning there isn't one thing that defines tactical fitness. You might have an idea of what that is. If you do, comment in my comments on this video, and next week I'll address the question. But just saying how are CrossFit and tactical fitness the same, and what are the differences between the two, it's too vague, specifically how we're defining what tactical fitness is. One of the most important lessons I learned from Greg in any discussion, debate, or dialogue, defining your terms is super critical. And when you look at what CrossFit's done, that was the foundation of so much of what he did with his articles, and the methodology was actually defining fitness, defining CrossFit, and really making clear, concise, cut and dry definitions of specific things. So here we need a definition of tactical fitness. Nathaniel Scott. Hi Dave, I appreciate these videos. Thank you for sharing with the community. Would you consider making some videos or documentary style content looking over old games and talking through your intent and creative process around each workout from that year? Would be awesome to learn more about your programming design methods. Well, you can check out the book I wrote a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago at this point. It basically chronicled the journey of programming 1 year. I think it was the 17 or 18 games. So that's one place to start. Yeah, I would consider doing a video on that, but as those things get further away in the past, I've programmed 15 years of games. I think the clarity on some of the motivation for some of the things I did is very distant in terms of like what I was trying to accomplish. I actually, it would be a cool challenge to try to do that. Maybe I should do it just to make me uncomfortable. So I don't know. It's a good idea. I'll consider it. Gerald Stolz. Hiller's not the enemy. He can be the greatest ally. Hiller's not the enemy. He can be an ally. I think saying the greatest ally, that's giving him way too much credit. Hiller's not the enemy. He can be the greatest ally. Hiller's not the enemy. I agree with that. He can be an ally. How about we say that? Richard Westmark. Dave, I am 63 now. Did my first open this year. Look me up if you like. Comments. Comment. Seems like skills bias assumes you grow up with CrossFit. Example, double unders. I hope to advance as I get older. What about more specific programming for 60 plus athlete development for late new starters and members? So yes, adapting programming, scaling, modifying. What the fuck's that other term that street parking uses? I forgot. They have their own little term. Scaling programming for 60 plus is totally appropriate, and there's probably a number of skills that just aren't as high of a priority for especially new 60 plus athletes getting into, or participants getting into CrossFit need to do. So like if I had a new client that was 60 years plus and had very little fitness experience, especially in the beginning, no vision or goal or necessity for them to do double unders. I mean, just jumping up in place will be progress. Then grabbing a rope and spinning it off to the side and then jumping is good. And then maybe eventually grabbing both handles and doing some single unders is great. But even that process I just described there, that could take 6, 7, 8, 9 months with someone that's 60 plus, depending on their fitness background. So I don't think, I think there's some things that it's fine, especially at that age, if people aren't fully capable of achieving right away, or maybe even if ever. Like I definitely don't think people that are 60 plus, I don't even think people that are 30, 40 plus should be doing max sprints, 20, 30, 40 yards. It's just a recipe for even 100 for disaster. That's another discussion. Carter Griffin. Hey Dave, you've sparked my interest in shooting competitions. How would you recommend getting started and learning about what competitions, categories, organizations, etc. are even out there? Well, first of all, decide which route you want to go. Pistol, rifle, shotgun, maybe a combination of all three, 3-gun, or fitness and shooting, which would be something like the tactical games. Once you decide which direction you want to go, seek out local people in your area, seek out local clubs to find instruction, get instruction, and take it very slowly. And so if you wanted to go pistol route, look up USPSA. If you want to go rifle, look up PRS or NRL. And if you wanted to go fitness and shooting, look up the tactical games. Most of those things, I don't know if tactical games, but the other two can be found on a website called practicescore.com. They list all the pretty much shooting events in the country, and you can sign up there. So seek instruction, take it slow, and pursue one of the, because there's so many different sports, shooting sports. And if you want to dress up like a cowboy and have a cowboy name and shoot cowboy guns, look at Cowboy Action Shooting. For the record, I've never done that, but people do it. So yeah, good luck with that endeavor. Mark Reeves, is there a place for shooting in CrossFit, rifle, pistol, shotgun, or archery? What would you like that to look like? Well, there's not a place for shooting in like the CrossFit Games at all. And people have suggested before or thought that I was going to put it in there, and it's just not appropriate. It's not a skill. It's not a fitness skill. There's definitely skill to it, but no place for that. Definitely a place for shooting pistol, shotgun, or archery for people who are very passionate about fitness and those things, to combine them and train them, and specifically doing any of those things with a super high heart rate or while fatigued. And also for law enforcement, military, doing some of their tasks while combining them with CrossFit. So it's for the most part, no. But if you're into those things, yes, absolutely. Brandon Waddell. First, thanks for doing these reviews and engagement with your audience. Very cool and personal. Second, I've seen you shoot a lot of federal ammunition. Do you mind speaking on why you choose federal as your go-to ammo over blah, 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 blah? Lastly, do you have specific fitness brands you prefer for personal hunting or for competitions? Thanks again. So Federal, and I work closely with Federal, and they provide a lot of support. And they're, in North America, one of the largest, maybe even in the world, ammunition manufacturers, and they make amazing product, and I'm very happy with them. So I highly recommend Federal, and great company to work with. For other brands, I like Proof Research. I like MDT. There's a lot of little brands that I do like, but I'm not afraid. I like Leopold. Vortex. So play around. There's a ton of brands. I like them all. I like Glock, Sig. I like experiment. So here's the thing, real quick on that. I like being able to shoot anything, and I'm not too tied to a brand. If you put it in my hands, I want to be able to perform with it. Jeff Ernsberger. I recently completed the survey sent out in July. I also do surveys 2 times a year at my gym, and they're only worth it if there is a communicated response with the plan changes. Will there be communication back to the community on the results and the plans HQ has for any changes being made as a result of the survey? So I saw this comment earlier in the week. You sent it 6 days ago. I sent a note out to our team basically asking what's going on because the games are going on. Didn't hear back, but I don't know. I've been gone for the last 5 or 6 months. So I will let you know once I find something out. Kat, what's the rationale for repeatedly visiting and meeting with these 10-year plus affiliates? It'd be great if you could focus some attention on newer affiliates. Seems like only the usual suspects are getting all the attention from HQ. I don't go out of my way to only see older affiliates or talk to older affiliates. Right now, I am going through this thing where I'm calling all of the oldest 50 affiliates, but beyond that, like when I was in Texas, there was a bunch of new affiliates. When I met with the London affiliates, there were some new affiliates. There's new affiliates in all these discussions I have, and I will go out of my way soon to have calls with just specifically newer affiliates. But I'm not trying to avoid them. Also, this is also from Kat. These videos are not long enough to need timestamps. Show Dave some respect and watch the whole damn thing. You're not that busy. Thanks. I appreciate that. William Hall, since you didn't answer this 2 weeks ago, I'll ask again. A lot of people look up to you in the community as a role model, including myself, because you're the real deal. Thank you. Did you have a similar role model growing up? And if so, who? So growing up, to a certain degree, my dad for sure. He had a lot of people that came around the ranch. I grew up on the ranch that worked for him and worked with him, and some of them became very close and father-like figures also. And one in particular, Jeff, he was kind of like a mentor. His father was in the Navy, and so we talked a lot about that. Once I went into the teams in the Navy, there was a handful, I'd say 2 or 3 SEALs who were mentors. None of you would know. I know someone's gonna say, is it Jocko or Goggins or so and so? No. It's the mentors I had. The world will never know they exist because they're the epitome of silent professionals. Anyways, and then in CrossFit, I would say Greg was definitely an intellectual mentor for sure, and probably the only mentor in CrossFit. I've also said recently that Bill has been a mentor in recent years in terms of just perspective on various things. So those names probably that's a good list for who I'd view as mentors. Okay, so that's the questions section. I'm going to put a little timestamp for my notes. So last week, big news. They announced a new CEO, Don Fall. So that's very exciting. A lot of people hit me up and asked me questions about him. When I got fired, I met up with a few other individuals in the Bay Area, started talking about some potential plans, ideas. They brought Don in early, had a few conversations with him regarding that, and nothing's happening there. That was something else unrelated to CrossFit. And then we actually, with Don, we had dinner with Greg while all those conversations were going on. Greg and a few other people. So Don's met Greg. They hit it off. I don't know if they've talked since this was announced. And then over the last couple months, had a number of conversations with Don. But so he seems like very impressed. I'm excited. I did talk about this in another video briefly, but I'll just say a few more things on it. Excited about him taking the helm and seeing what he'll do with the company and with the brand, and how he'll push us forward and lead us. Those who know me know I move fast and like to push people hard. I also like to have people push me hard and challenge me to push me outside of my boundaries. So hopefully he'll do that with me, and not just hopefully he'll challenge me. That's what I'm trying to say, and give me the ability to do to have some ownership and take things and drive things and really push teams, push whatever I'm dealing with to the next level, because I like to drive things. So excited about Don. I also had a call with a number of older affiliates again. So there's a list of 50 that I have, and in groups of 6 to 10, I'm trying to go down the list and talk to them all, and just to hear their perspective on things, because they've been around for the longest. With this group, one of the things they talked about was someone brought up the CrossFit Journal and they'd like to see it back. I've heard that from a number of the discussions I've had, so that's something I'm really pushing our team on and communicating back to the leadership, getting something back like the CrossFit Journal and the routine content and education that comes along with that. Another person on that call brought up the hiring network or a hiring network, us having some sort of centralized place where affiliates can come to find trainers, because apparently a lot of gyms right now are having trouble finding level 1 trainers to work at their gyms. We talked about level 1s and the qualification, and even having more rigorous standards for owning an affiliate throughout the years, having more requirements essentially. These are all things there's a lot of discussion going on about those things happening, but they were really interested in where we are with that and where we could take that. I also had a call with a bunch of London-based affiliates, and that was a good call. They one of them, I did a post about this just a few days before the call, had lost his gym in a fire, and so but he still hopped on this call and had a really positive attitude. Oh, I forgot to timestamp the last two things. I'll add it. Had a really positive attitude, and so I put a GoFundMe link in my site that you can donate or support, because they lost all their equipment and they lost their gym. Another affiliate on that call brought up the on-ramp and why we haven't launched it. That's a great question. I've been pushing people on our team because so last year, in a very limited scope, we launched an on-ramp in a couple cities, and then at the games, apparently, because I asked him, how'd you even know about the on-ramp? I figured nobody knew about it. He said, you guys were talking about it at the games, and you guys had it the games last year. And so anyways, it's a super cool online course, essentially, that you could give to a family member, or they could sign up for. I don't know if when we relaunch it's going to be free or you have to pay, but it takes them through and introduces them to CrossFit from us, and at the entire time is promoting and pushing them to go to an affiliate. So if they do the whole, I think it's 8 weeks, if they do the whole 8 week, or 8 session engagement of it, then at the end it's like, now find your local affiliate and continue on there. It's not meant to and it might even be called something else now, but it's not meant to replace an affiliate's on-ramp. It's really meant to get people who are even afraid to go to an affiliate exposed to CrossFit, break down the perceived barriers, and get them training in their house and then eventually into an affiliate. So hopefully we can get that out. So I finished that at 1850. This weekend I had a couple shooting competitions. On Saturday there was a 22 match. On Sunday there was a full-size rifle match, long-range rifle. Did okay in the 22 match, and started off really strong in the long-range match, but then I just faltered and didn't ever pick up the pace again, and so did better than I did a couple last weekend, but still not to the standards that I like to shoot at. And so to answer that question, what's the standard that I like to shoot at? I try to win every time I shoot. I've won a number of times. I've won a few matches this year, but just going through a rough spot, and there's a lot of good competition. So, but I just need to keep practicing and keep training and working on the things that I'm not doing well. And finally, last thing I want to talk about is so this rogue hat that they made. I've been wearing it for a few weeks now. Katie and that team you see the other ones that I wear. I have a ton of, black or various colors. Those are cotton, and so I do everything in this style hat. And they get drenched with sweat and they get hot. And so I asked her to make a performance version. And so this is the performance material. FlexFit Delta is the blank, and I've done a lot of runs now, rucks, and shooting competitions in this. And it breathes, it feels good. It doesn't hold the sweat like the cotton hats do. So highly recommend this for if you like the logo and if you want to have a performance style hat. Thanks for tuning in. And once again, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments, and next week I will answer them.